stolen and sold. I am Madame Tussaud. I'm adept at making wax figures and death masks. I promised the Assembly I would make masks of famous victims of the guillotine. It's grisly, but it was the only way to get out of prison. And now someone has stolen the heads I was given. Could you please find them for me?
A friend found out something you might find important. She sent me this letter.
Rumor has it that a soldier who guards Sainte-Chapelle wanted the head of Olympe de Gouges. He was in love with her from afar.
The judge at the Palais de Justice who condemned Jacques Hébert apparently wanted Hébert's head as a trophy.
Service, les ingrats.
Bon, alors enfin, comme nous avions tout. Comment a-t-on pu en
La
arriver
photo
là?
Bourbon, que croyez-vous? Il a
Remember Saint George's lesson.
C'est pas moi. Mordieu, ce sac à vin me fait perdre mon temps. Calme-toi, voyons. Nous allons bien trouver une solution.
I want you vermin out.
Ta misérable pose.
You have them. I can make the death masks and be safe. Oh, what a world in which we live.
I suppose a simple address would be too mundane.
Tu verras que ces révolutionnaires auront au fait de se proclamer roi.
Et toi, tu verras que le peuple donnera de la voix et qu'il se fera obéir.
Je refuse de faire confiance aux hommes qui nous gouvernent.
Took you long enough, piss pot.
What is this place?
The sanctuary. A place we can train and prepare, away from the eyes of our enemies.
Didn't we just escape from a dungeon?
It's not a dungeon. It's a nerve center. From these tunnels we can get anywhere in the city, all without being seen. We have eyes everywhere.
Really? Seems visibility would be a problem. Wouldn't you prefer something with a view?
This place has served us well for 600 years, pisspot.
Mm-hmm. And how long were you standing in the dark waiting for me?
Not long. Guillaume spotted you from the bell tower.
Well, it was quite the entrance.
Are you mocking me?
No, no. God's truth. Very theatrical.
Shut up. We're here.
The candidate will approach. So, the son of Charles Dorion returns to us. Belek thought you wouldn't come. What changed your mind?
I'm tired of running from my failures. Monsieur de la Serre, my father. I want to make it right.
The death of Grand Master de la Serre weighs on you. Why? Did you wield the blade yourself?
Does it matter? The blame still lies with me.
إن ذنوبه تكل كيلاي. هل أنت متأكد من؟
أنا كذلك. إنه قادر على مواجهة المحاكمة. سيكون جيدا.
Very well. Out of the dark you come into the light. From the light you will return to the dark. Are you prepared to travel the Eagle's path?
If that's a fancy way of asking, do I want your help? Yes.
Then drink.
What's happening? Hello?
Can't I go with you, Father?
Courage, my boy. You wait just here. I will return when this hand reaches the top, and there is to be no mischief.
Father!
Where is that boy? I'm certain. We should be well away from him.
Father, it's me! I'm here!
If you can pluck your head from your own arse, you'll find us. You make a fine fit.
You seem to have caused quite a commotion.
You were always a bad influence.
You were a worse one.
Mon Dieu, he's killed Lord de la Serre.
Blessed to have such a loyal These are the words spoken by our ancestors, the words that lay at the heart of our creed.
Stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent.
Hide in plain sight.
Never compromise the Brotherhood.
Let these tenets be branded upon your mind. Follow them and be uplifted. Break them at your peril. Rise, assassin. Arno Dorian is dead. He has been culled from this world, his sins and failures turned to dust. Tonight he is reborn, a novice of the Assassin Brotherhood.
Welcome back. Now that you've experienced life as an assassin, are you willing to pick up the fight and join us? Deacon, load the file.
Coming up.
We lifted a media file from Abstergo last month, and the information it contains is astounding. But we won't share these things with just anyone. By pressing play, you'll be joining the assassins. If you want to fight the Templar menace, if you're willing to save civilization from Abstergo's clutches, press play, sit back, and ready yourself for the truth. Good choice. Welcome to the Assassins, Initiate.
In the 1950s, it was theorized that human DNA worked via the triple helix model. Some years later, the work of Crick and Watson demolished this theory in favor of the double helix. Today, we know the double helix to be indisputably the basis of all life. So why did the triple helix theory gain so much traction? Why did Rosalind Franklin's X-rays seem to confirm it? It turns out that their initial samples had been taken from small traces of precursor DNA, the rare genes of an ancient race embedded in our own. We now know that triple helix DNA is the foundation of the precursor genome. It is the genetic Rosetta Stone of our age. If we can crack it open, if we can sequence the full precursor genome, there is no limit to the knowledge we will gain. Using Animus technology, precursor history will be open to us for the first time ever. Ancient languages will be unlocked, and ancient technology will be ours for the taking. Imagine what will be possible if we master the technology that underpins the pieces of Eden. Such discoveries would surpass 100-fold the splitting of the atom. Last year, we located a rich sample of precursor DNA in a donor whose genes contained human and precursor DNA at an incredible 25-to-1 ratio. Our work will begin with this sample. Our goal is to unravel the triple helix, sequence the precursor genome, and change the world for the better, forever. Welcome to the Phoenix Project.
So, this is where we stand. Last year, Abstergo acquired the body of a man we call a sage, one of a rare breed of humans with a surplus of ancient DNA. This sparked a search for more sages, in the present and in the past. The more Abstergo finds, the closer they get to their final goal. We've blocked their recent attempts to find more, but Abstergo will not stop looking until they sequence a full precursor genome. So, why Arno Dorian? Why chase an assassin through the French Revolution? It turns out, at some point in his life, Arno came into contact with another sage. We need you to find out when and where these meetings took place. If Arno was present for this sage's death, it might lead Abstergo straight to his body. Naturally, we'd like to find it first. This is where you come in. It won't be simple. Genetic memory must be tackled in sequence to keep the data stable. But we're confident you're up to the task. And you won't be alone. Other initiates, assassins just like you, are doing their part to end this fight. If you need more training, more experience, you can call on them for help. All right. Loading the next sequence. I've got something else for you. The more time you spend with Arno, the more data we'll have to increase your synchronization with him, and to activate his abilities. Here, have a look at this. One last thing. While you've been busy, I had Deacon do some poking around in Arno's memories. Seems he was a busy guy. See that symbol? That's a co-op mission. I play a lot of games multiplayer. I don't know about you, but I thought you'd like to mix it up a little. These are missions Arno ran with his assassin buddies, so they'll give you an idea of what our organization's about. Just walk into the glitch and you'll get all the details. I've marked them on your map.
Easy on yourself. Tell me who you're protecting.
Bloody royalists!
Brother, relax. I'm on your side.
Du fond du cœur, merci. Je prierai pour vous. Du fond du cœur, merci. Je prierai pour vous.
Venez, citoyens! Venez affronter le verdict de la nation!
Et tout ça, c'est de la viande. Tout le monde particulièrement hideux.
Stop trying to avoid me, right? Leaving now!
Together, but I'll take steps to enable you.
What's the mission?
Mission. Let's get your arse in position. Don't ask questions, piss pop.
I live to serve.
Something's not right.
Lord Guillaume de Roussel has generously agreed to our price of 40%.
An act of desperation. What about the priest?
He'll come around.
Your confidence is infectious, Siver. My boys will have the wagon ready.
Here are the details. Make sure it goes smoothly.
Of course. Make sure that it goes smoothly, cretin. When have I...
Murder! Murder!
These bastards always have bodyguards. Well...
Help!
They Next time, do that before he starts screaming.
Why do we hang about here when Sivert still lives? He killed Monsieur de la Serre.
Patience. Sever's not the target. Not today. Come on. Council's waiting for our report.
Fuck him out, piss pot! There you are! You're a joke! Come back and die like the brat you are! I'll sit down and turn you off! Oh, hell. Drop me the pace!
Let's go. Time to earn your keep.
I'll sacrifice you!
Je crois qu'il est temps que je m'éclipse. Discrètement, mais sans tarder.
What do you want? We saw you with
What
Lord.
exactly are you accusing? Burning! Hello's having a slow day!
Et puis ça, c'est de la viande.
You're mine! Touch and claw, clencher! Watch for a feint!
Merde. Patriots. These imbeciles will pick a fight with anyone. Try not to draw their attention.
Shouldn't we stop them?
Stop them. Avoid them. Doesn't matter. There's always more fanatics. Can't save everyone, Pisspot.
Well, there's a cheery thought.
Heads up, lads. Remy found Monsieur Arno's body in a courtyard not far from here. Stabbed through the throat.
Je ne suis pas un lâche. Dès lors que quelque chose ne me regarde pas.
Just trying not to strain your heart.
Careful, Pisspot. You'll hurt someone. Careful, Pisspot. You'll hurt someone.
Need a break? I can't believe this. We've not seen Seaver for a year, and you're letting him walk. All because his name wasn't on a bloody piece of paper.
The timing's not right. Too many variables, too many loose threads.
And if we lose him again?
He'll be at Notre Dame tomorrow, if he keeps to the schedule we found.
How are you, friend?
So what happens next?
We take this ledger full of Templar records to Mirabeau. He proceeds to do nothing with it.
3 more
You
Templars.
don't seem terribly fond of him.
Wasn't us.
He's a
Templars have been
politician.
killing each other like it was going out
Sees
of fashion
himself as a
since
great
89.
peacemaker.
Templar civil war.
He thinks he can end the war between assassins and Templars,
Or make our
bring the
lives
revolution to a happy conclusion, and convince dogs and cats to live together in peace.
And that's bad?
It's a self-aggrandizing pipe dream. The Templars are at their weakest since Jacques... Well, the customs agents of France can rest easy. Arpinot's dead.
Shaking down imprisoned nobles seems a bit out of his oeuvre. What are the Templars up to?
If we hadn't spent the last year hobbled by your damn truce, we might know that.
He has a point, Honoré. The truce was with Grand Master de la Serre.
The man's been dead for 2 years. Whoever's in charge now, you can be certain they aren't sitting idle.
We might have learned more had we not allowed Seaver to escape.
Seaver was there?
I know your heart is set on keeping the peace, but bringing Monsieur de la Serre's killer to justice would count for something, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. But do not confuse your personal vendetta with a sound strategy.
If he wants to kill Templars, let him kill Templars. I've done all I can. Boys ready?
Very well. Assassin. I charge you to go to Notre Dame de Paris, and to find there the Templar agent, Charles Gabriel Seaver. You will learn his secrets, and when you have done so, you will bring him peace, in accordance with our tenets.
What's our plan?
Our plan? You're not an apprentice anymore, boy. So study your surroundings. Devise your own plan. I'm not here to hold your hand. No targets unreachable.
Out of the way.
Move!
Where the hell was Duchesneau? Oh.
If you can't find a weakness to exploit, make one.
You've secured the cathedral?
Oui, monsieur.
Good. Tell Siver I'll meet him inside.
Opportunities everywhere. It's on you to take it.
You! Get back here with my keys! Thieves!
And if all other plans fail, why not sacrifice yourself for the cause, your life for his? Before Altair, that was the Levantine approach.
You mean a dagger in broad daylight as I'm cut down where I stand?
Sends a powerful message.
I'll do it my way.
Whatever you think best, assassin.
The expression on that fat old cleric's face.
Voilà un personnage suspect.
Tu as envie de rencontrer les équipeurs?
Merci. Que Dieu vous bénisse.
Aduxerunt in montem sanctum tuum, et in tabernacula tua, adjutorium nostrum, nomine Domini, qui fecit caelum et terra. Introibo ad altare Dei, ad Deum letificat juventutem meam, judicam me Deus, et meam et gente tua. Ipsa me deduxerunt, et aduxerunt in montem sanctum tuum, et in tabernacula adjutorium.
What's that? Must be shit! Oh, got ya! But where?
Wait here. See that we're not disturbed.
Sever.
Monsieur Latouche, I'm here to see the King of Beggars.
Come with me.
The intrigues of rats! Pompous fool, if I could lay my hands on him.
Well, what's so important you had to pull me away from my daughters?
You all right, monsieur? Too much of the king's champagne?
Sylvain, come away!
Jesus, Deacon, do you read? What the hell is that?
I'm here, Bishop. That's a server sweep. Abstergo's looking for you. And they're close.
Damn it. Can you open a server bridge?
Hey, come on, it's me. Already on it. Couple of seconds.
Initiate. We're opening a server bridge. Find the portal and pass through before the sweep finds you.
Got it. Go.
Do you see it? They're hard to miss. Jumping from one Helix server to another should buy you a few more hours. If it doesn't, we're screwed.
Well, we're not screwed. It's your initiate that gets the brunt.
Deacon, you're not helping. There it is. Go! The signal's holding. Good. You're waiting outside the main simulation now. This will throw Abstergo off your trail for a while, but you'll also run into a lot of incomplete and corrupted code. Which probably explains why the people here aren't quite here. Looks like the late 1800s. Now this is a Paris I wouldn't mind visiting. Maybe another time. Right now, you need to get to the exit portal. I can't see a path through, though. See if you can find a route underground. You know, the Belle Epoque looks a lot cleaner than revolutionary Paris, don't you think? Fewer beheadings, too, I bet. That's it. I'm reading a route through the metro station ahead. Oh, shit. This area's becoming unstable. There you are. And you found the exit. Good. It's an unstable vortex of energy, so there's no telling how it will disrupt the simulation. It looks like you'll have to climb Lady Liberty. She must have bled through from another time period. The French should have shipped her off to the States by now. Just get to the portal. I'll do what I can to stop it from closing. See you on the other side. We're back. Not everyone is so fortunate their first time through a bridge. Sometimes our initiates are trapped in the system, and we have no choice but to send someone like you in to rescue them. In fact, one of our initiates is caught in a Bellapox server right now. If you're not too exhausted, you can re-enter the bridge and rescue him. All right, back to work, initiate.